All right, what's going on, y'all? Welcome to the Fans Union for the fans by the fans. Got a newly engaged man in the building. Graham, what's going on, brother? Congratulations.
I don't got a ring, but I'm gonna let y'all know it was time. Like Shador had to get the job done. So
That's right.
man, my brother was
Congratulations,
there. My,
brother.
my brother was there with me. Might I add, the handsome and scholarly, a man of few words these days. When he's off the pod, so it's always good to spend time with him and the lovely missus as well. And shouts to everybody else who was able to share that moment with us. But yeah,
I
I
thought that
think.
was a great picture that we took.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say I think the photos that Jay took are definitely gonna be some of the ones that's gonna get hung up in the cribbo whenever that day comes. So shouts out to my boy Jay.
Aw.
He definitely did his thing there. No, but I'm talking about of everybody, like you said, Joey. They
Yeah,
came out good, man. So
yeah, they did a really good
shouts to
job.
Margella, man. A maestro on the mic and on the camera. As always, no Kizzy, no Diddy at that. So, yeah, man. It was a
That's
swell
a good
weekend.
call.
Got to watch some good football. At least if you're a Seahawks fan.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. That,
yeah,
that that Super Bowl thing happened this past weekend, huh?
it sure did. Yeah. The commercials, the game, the drama, the glory, and all. Man, where you want to start?
Well, start off by I guess just recapping the obvious. So, Seahawks came in the game 4.5 point favorite and really ended up dominating this game. I think if you watch this game, at no point there was maybe at the end when it was what was it 22-7 I want to say, and the Patriots get the ball back and they're driving a little bit, and then Drake May makes a Stevie Wonder throw to
Yeah,
God, who caught that? Was it
meatball sub with extra provolone.
yeah, and I heard there might have been some olive oil on top of that.
Yeah, I mean they might
I
have
don't
made it
know.
Mike's way. Apparently they made it Mike's way. Is
Mike's.
what they're saying.
Yeah,
So
if it was Mike's way, no, that wouldn't have been allowed on TV.
yeah, I mean Mike's way is Patreon content only, is what you're saying. So yeah, we'll give y'all that spill on when on on Thursdays and Fridays. Y'all know how it is, man. But
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, no,
Um,
but I mean, but to your point though, Joey, yeah, I would say, especially if you watch the second half, which apparently from what they're saying, there was a huge dip off like after the halftime show. Apparently, not as many viewers, but not to get too political on y'all, but if you stuck around through the second half, after they scored that first touchdown, and it felt like they might have been surging a little bit. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. Even when you acknowledge the schedule thing and the schedule factor with the Patriots, a well coached and balanced football team. Um, I wouldn't say it was odd to see things play out the way they did because fellas like my homie here, Joey, kind of predicted the game to turn out this way, but kind of odd to see the Patriots ultimately lay a stinker. I think like once the final whistle was blown, not to get too far ahead of myself. Drake May is young, but it is really rare, few and far in between to see the Patriots go out like that on the big stage.
yeah, I mean, out of all of the games times, and I know obviously he's not Tom Brady, but of all the games that the Patriots have been to, I don't think any of them were blowouts.
Yeah, no, no.
Two of them are walk off. Two of them they walk off the game, and then the Eagles they win at the end. They lose last drive of the game to the Giants.
Because you're even going back to the regular season, right?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think like this really
Yeah, I
is a
think they
thing
I
that they
think they
do.
put out a metric that the margin never got above on either extreme. I think 13 points.
Yeah, because the
Yeah.
biggest win that I'm pretty sure that horrible Rams Super Bowl they won 13-3. And I'm pretty sure that was the biggest one.
Oh, you're talking about biggest margins in the bowl and the big dance. Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I was just thinking of just Patriots history
okay,
there.
got you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The
Now,
one you're talking about when they beat the greatest show on turf, I think.
well, no, that game ended in a walk off. I'm talking about the
Got you.
one in
Okay.
Atlanta. That was a brutal watch.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
And me personally, and again, I'm a sicko, so take that as you will. I, I really, a lot of people were like, "Yeah, this game was boring. I didn't want to watch it." Me personally, the strategy of football in a game like this to me is just so enticing. It doesn't matter what the score is. I'm intrigued on how it's going to go, especially one that I almost I like watching scoring in football, obviously, and we didn't get a touchdown on this one until the fourth quarter on either side. But I enjoy kind of while it's that I guess the margin is as small as it is, kind of how it becomes like a game, like two tacticians on each
Sure.
coach's
Yeah, yeah.
respective sideline. I enjoy that. But Graham, let me ask you this: if I told you that Drake May was 5 yards short of 300 yards and almost outgained Sammy Darnold in the air by 100 yards, just not watching the game, would you say, yeah, the Pats win that game?
If they didn't win, it's down to a field goal, is what I would think. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, Drake May enters the third quarter with, or enters the fourth quarter with 60 passing yards. He was getting terrorized, man. And I know it's kind of weird because they take him off the injury report. Apparently, has to get a shot in his shoulder right before the
Mm.
game. I don't know how true that is, whatever the case may be, but I don't think you one of those situations you can't really have your cake and eat it. If it's questionable for him, put him on the injury report. If he's not, like you can't like remember when
You
LeBron
can't retroactively, say
yeah,
my toe hurt. Yeah,
like
yeah.
when LeBron apparently in one of those Warrior series punched a whiteboard or something and broke his hand and that didn't come out
Uh,
until after,
I thought
you
you were
know.
talking about because he had a situation in Miami, I think, with his foot that came up like 2 weeks after a game happened. I'm like, that's odd.
Well, no,
But, yeah.
his shoulder. Oh, you're talking about LeBron?
Yeah, yeah,
Got you.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Okay. No.
yeah. But no, I
Agree.
mean, with Drake May, you're right. I mean, immediately after that AFC Championship game, all reports were kind of indicating that he was at least banged up. Nothing definitive that he was going to miss, but yeah, I'm right there with you. You can't two-step back into the injury list. If you were healthy, you were healthy. So yeah,
And
but go
let's
ahead.
just get
Go
into
ahead.
May real quick. He was terrorized this playoffs.
Yeah,
He seriously he played 4 playoff games and did not play one good game. And I'm no Drake May hater. I know I've called him Drake the Schedule May. I didn't make the name up, obviously. Called him Drake maybe. I just think those are funny names. But
that's a good one.
he didn't have a single game where he played well. And I know 2 of those games were blizzards in the second half pretty much, but he seriously did not play well at all in those games. And it continues here. And I know you look back to the regular season, and I was listening to Kurt Warner talk about his prediction. I think it was on a Rich Eisen show, and he's basically like, "Yeah, the regular season, this, that, and the third happened, but I'm worried about what's going on now because how you play in week 6 against X, Y, and Z is not really indicative of what's going to happen now." And the Seahawks were rolling. I mean, they played, the team led by the MVP. Which how good is Matt Stafford for what he did to the Seahawks team 3 times when we saw Drake May, who was second in MVP voting. We're going to get to that here in a little bit. But this was something, I mean, he was getting abused throughout the
Yeah,
playoffs. It's not surprising to me. I mean, there was the Denver game. I don't think he had over 100 yards. He played terrible in the Tampa game. The best plays he made were with his legs. I think he had that one big throw to Keyshawn Booty. But this was kind of the Drake May we've been seeing the whole time. And
yeah. Wasn't the flea flicker in Denver to Keyshawn Booty as well? I believe it was. Yeah.
it was him or Matt Collins. I think it was Matt Collins, honestly.
Okay. Yeah. He threw a bomb to Matt Collins in the bowl as well. I mean, that was a
Yeah,
pretty
yeah, that
ball.
was I mean, that was I
Maybe
know
the throw of the game.
people were giving me the Kimes hell for mentioning that because they're
I literally was gonna say they hung her in the street for telling the truth. Maybe I might agree. Like those two balls were really pretty. I'm not all the way out on May, but to maybe piggyback off of you, it worries me that schedule was as lending as it was. I mean, that schedule lent itself to him amply. Draws all the way down all season as far as teams that he played.
yeah,
And he
right.
never really went all the way home with it. Now he took her home, he went to the dance. So we're not gonna sit here and act like he didn't do some things right, but we're starting to worry about what's going on here. At least in the bedroom. Like why is DM not doing what he need to do when he finally slide all the way through in the DMs? And you do worry about younger quarterbacks who get a bite at the apple this soon, how they handle that because I mean even Joe Burrow, I mean, we're not going to sit here and question that he's a top 5, top 7 quarterback in this league, injuries or not. But you do have to, sometimes ask yourself, um, what's going on with his situation as far as like getting that early success. And I know he's been hurt a lot, but I think I kind of just expect more out of Joe Burrow as a leader at this point in his career. And um, I know that situation is funky with ownership and all of that, but and we started this conversation about Drake May, but I just think that you got to have the right people around quarterbacks who um, get to that level this early, because that's going to be constantly what people are now using as that bar for you. You know,
Yeah.
like you took second in MVP voting and went to the Super Bowl in the same season. And I think this is only year 3 for him.
This year, he just finished his second year.
So yeah, so he's going into
Yeah.
year 3, and now he's going to have to deal with these lofty, types of expectations for the remainder of his career. So obviously, when you draft a guy as high as you did with him, you hope that some of the intangibles and stuff roll through, and he's able to develop through this. But I guess that's just my 2 cents, maybe foreshadowing a little bit. But yeah,
Well, I think because a second year quarterback who we expect to be good. I mean, obviously, he had a really good year, had a 72% completion percentage on the year, which is outstanding. Which I don't think a completion percentage means what it did 10 years ago, 15 years ago, personally. But what was I going to say? I think fans, media, I think sometimes we get too locked in on, oh, this person got here and won early, lost early. They'll be back. Has Joe Burrow been back? You know, like I talked about the initials last week. You know who never got back to the Super Bowl after going in their second year?
mm,
Dan Marino.
yeah, man,
Dan Marino never got back.
it's a cold, cold world.
I'll say somebody who used to be really good never got back. Donovan McNabb. He never
Come
got
on,
back.
man.
You know
Yep.
what I mean? Jimmy
Ooh,
Garoppolo hasn't been back.
speaking of Donovan McNabb, remember that crazy stat that they threw out about no quarterbacks with that set of initials?
Yeah.
You listed both of them, and it's
Yeah.
crazy how we're wondering about him
0-3.
possibly taking that same trajectory. I mean, it get pretty wicked out here, Joey. That's shouts, man. Shouts to you for that.
I'll do what I can. Hey, you want to hear? Let me show you. Have you seen those things on? And I have people as my witness. I sent you all a screenshot the other night of me doing the Super Bowl quarterbacks, the Super Bowl winning quarterback, and out of all 59 Super Bowls, because I did it before this one, which was 60, I got 58 out of 59 quarterbacks all time
Yeah,
winning.
yeah. It was
It was dude Joe Hassanoff, or I can't think of his name. He was Phil Sims'
Phil
backup
Sims.
quarterback.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what it was.
it was
That's
his
what it
backup
was. Yeah.
quarterback. And then I did the losing quarterback Super Bowl, the Super Bowl losing quarterback. And the average person got 52% of it done. I got 75. So still did good there, but there were some names that I was simply just never was going to get. Like,
Yeah, no, I mean, on the losing side, you gotta. I mean, for the Bills, for example, like was it Theismann all 4 times when they did that little
no, it's
stretch?
Jim Kelly.
Or Kelly? Okay, see,
Yeah.
see, I
Theismann
always fuck
is
that up.
um Theismann is Washington. But Washington, 3 Super Bowls, 3 different quarterbacks.
Yeah,
Ripon, Doug Williams, first black quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl. Pretty
that's
sure to
right.
ever play in a Super Bowl. And Joe Theismann, before his career, was ultimately chicken legged in half, as we all know how that went with Big
Yeah, no
LT.
pun intended. Yeah,
Yeah. So, but this Patriots team, I think they got to build up front. They take Will Campbell 4-5 overall, and he was a rag doll the entire playoffs, which I think he may have been hurt too. People are saying he needs to move to guard, and Mike Vrabel shut that down. But he stunk, man. He was awful. And people talk about his thing was it the small hands or the short wings
the
like
short
reach?
arms.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was short arms. And I don't know if that's necessarily every time like that's gonna be true, but he got abused this game, man. He could not block anybody. What I was amazed by was the fact that we watched Witherspoon get a sack on that corner blitz off the edge, and they had no answer for it. I thought the Patriots looked really unprepared,
yeah,
especially with somebody Mike Vrabel, multiple time Super Bowl winner, Josh McDaniels, has coached in so many big football games, and especially with New England prior to just being here now. But they had no game plan. No receiver got open. And we're gonna get to Seattle here eventually. I know we've been 14 minutes just talking about the Patriots, but I think we as fans were just maybe not surprised per se. I mean, it is Super Bowl. I mean, I think the Patriots were at a two touchdown dog to The Rams, when they played on the greatest show on turf, ended up pulling that upset. So you never know how games are going to go. But there was nothing trending from this Patriots team from what you've seen in the playoffs that was going to eventually manifest into a win. It just wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, I mean the run game, in my opinion, never really turned on the way that it would have needed to for Drake May to be as effective as he would have needed to be for them to win with the left tackle deficiencies. Let's not be, coy or naive here. That was something that was prevalent this whole season. It was just to different magnitudes. I do want to bring up something since you mentioned the conspiracy about him getting moved over to guard. We don't need to look at that as a conspiracy for much longer. This is a real thing that happens in the NFL. The Jets drafted Mekhi Becton out of Louisville in 2021, and that man was everything just near of basically 7 foot tall, had the ideal type of prototype type build that you want at left tackle. And
Right.
because he could never get his feet to move the way that they need to move as fluidly as they do in the NFL at left tackle, he got moved to guard by the Eagles the same year we traded him to them, and he won a Super Bowl with them. He was their starting left guard the entire season. So, you know, these things happen in the league. These were things that were kind of already forecasted in Will Campbell's potential future when he was, projected to go as high as he did, and he ultimately would get drafted in the first round. And I'm not all the way out on him, but I do think that some of the stuff that he was able to skate over at LSU is becoming abundantly clear that each week that you give, these NFL teams more tape on you, that's not going to probably work in the league for much longer. So I think for the betterment of him and the team, they're either going to look into moving him to right tackle or just moving him to guard because you drafted him too high to give up on him completely. And I do think he's got the character of a guy that you want to, build around and make a cornerstone member of your team because he's definitely got the DNA that I want to have on my O line. I'm a stand up dude. You don't ever want to see guys really get torched the way that he's getting torched right now for just doing their job. And you've heard legends, basically people who are just really good, but right under that level of Trent Williams, basically say, like, if you're not Trent Williams, there's going to be games where the only solution is the final whistle getting blown. Like
Yeah.
you got a guy across you who, when he plants his hand in the ground, when he stands up on two, there's nothing you can do. It's kind of just a matter of what he feels like doing each play. So
Yeah.
I definitely feel for Will Campbell. I know I went on a little bridge and it still fucked the Patriots always, but
Well, I got something good for you here in a minute when
yeah,
it
yeah.
comes to
No,
that.
I was gonna just say, touching on the Seahawks, like you said, it's about time we open up, with
I
them.
do want to mention before you get into that, you want to talk about the Patriots run game. The leading rusher was Drake May,
Yeah, it's bad, man.
under 40 yards, and they are under 100 yards as a team.
They caught that same bug that Alabama caught, like right around postseason time. Like I don't know what happened to that run game, but it completely disappeared. But
Dude,
I
Alabama
was
was
gonna
like
say that
bottom
the
10
Hawks just
nationally.
looked way more explosive and fast, way more faster than the Patriots. Just from an eye test perspective, I don't know if you felt the same way, but that dynamic in particular looked extremely lopsided to me. They just looked way more electric than the Patriots did
Yeah.
on both sides of the ball.
No, I agree. I mean, like you said, we need to get into the Seahawks because they're the winners. We
For
owe them
sure.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
Obviously, should have really gotten to it a little sooner, but they not kind of remind you of the Oklahoma City Thunder of the NFL? I feel like that's a really good comp for them. Obviously, defense in basketball and football is different, but OKC, that when you think of them, the first thing that kind of comes to your mind is defense. Defensively, they are as tenacious a unit as there is. And that's how the Seahawks defense is. Every single level of this game, they dominated. I know people brought up, especially because it was against the Patriots, about the Sam Darnold seeing ghosts. A, put that one to bed, and B, Drake May was seeing all the ghosts. I mean, look, the Patriots, before they scored, the Patriots punted the ball 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then they fumbled it. So that's 9. It was 10 possessions before they scored.
They thought they were still playing in the snow, bro. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
They
Yeah,
forgot it was in San Fran. Yeah.
it was snowing, right? I mean, that's the excuse we're going to use for them.
Yeah, yeah.
But give credit to Seattle because the thing that they've done, like, if we would have said as a collective unit, who's somebody that we think is going to have a huge game in this? Like, I loved watching the NFC Championship because the two best players on the field were Puka and JSN, and they played the best on the field. That was something that, as a fan, that's what you want to see. But JSN's had these games this year where he hasn't made a huge impact. Obviously, got hurt a little bit in this game. Eventually, came back out. He could have not played, and the score wouldn't have changed. I mean, these guys executed at every single level you need to. Went the entire season without a turnover.
Turnover.
No, that's never happened. And not to mention, I know people have said Sam Darnold didn't play super well, which I mean he didn't light it up. Wenzel, how many quarterbacks throw 300 yards in a game
Yeah,
anymore? But let alone the Super Bowl. I think the last one was Pat Mahomes to
yeah,
throw over
definitely.
300.
Yeah.
But I say all that to say,
I think
Sam
Stafford
Darnold,
threw for over 3 when they beat the Bengals as well.
I think Mahomes was after that.
No, you're right though. Yeah.
So, but neither
Mhm.
here nor there. It's rare. It's not like every quarterback comes out here and lights it up. But this guy comes and didn't make a single, didn't have a single turnover this game. No fumble. Drake may turn the ball over 3 times in this game. Sam Darnold didn't. Oh, actually, here I want to play this for you. I want you to listen to this. Something I found, and this is what I was going to say. I was going to share with you earlier. I think you'll really get a kick out of this. Let me share my screen. Everybody, you'll hear some audio, but I want to get my good brother Graham's reaction to this. Check this out.
Crazy for about 3/4 in that game. Sam Darnold was pressure like crazy for about 3/4.
We can't really hear it, Joe.
Let me see if I can turn it up a little bit. Matter of fact, here I just want to share it. I'll play it through my phone. But this is something you're gonna want to hear. 1 second. Sorry, technical difficulties, everyone. Here we go.
Shit, I was gonna say while we in transition, man, shouts to AJ Barner. I know he only had like 60 receiving yards, but I kind of saw him as like the swing difference player in this game from an offensive standpoint for the Seahawks, man. He definitely was kind of my player of the offense besides Kenneth Walker, obviously.
Yeah, he was fantastic. I agree with you, especially I mean Cup, who is somebody we've expected to have big games. He's the leading receiver. So good to see that this is a team. Like I said, Shea may not be the one to score 40 every night. He could score 25, but J-Dub or Chet has 30. You know what I'm saying? Like it's amazing. The kind of the comparisons between those two. But here we go. You ready?
Definitely. I see the vision.
Was pressure like crazy for about 3/4 in that game. Well, but Sam he found a way. Huh?
Thank you. I said Sam sucked too, but
no. You know what? No.
He sucked.
No,
Drake may outperform Sam.
I'm not letting it. Man, Colby, get
whoa. Wait, Colby, just say that again. What did you just say? Say that again.
Hold up. So Drake May in this game, 295 passing yards to Sam's 202. Drake May 62.8 completion percentage to Darnold's 50.
Thank you.
Drake May 2 touchdowns to Sam Darnold's 1. Where
do you actually believe this? Wait, do you actually believe what you did?
Where Drake May ultimately struggled was the turnovers, and that's what makes this close.
Colby,
the
stop,
argument
bro.
comes in, but quarterback rating 79.1.
I cannot believe what I just heard.
I'm telling you statistically speaking, yes,
Colby,
Drake May play better.
You coping hard, Colby.
How am I coping? I just listed facts.
That's not facts, brother. I promise you that.
That's a stat line, brother.
All right. Well, first of all, you said Drake May.
Now, you may or may not have guessed this. That was a Patriots fan. I don't know how long that took to figure out. But
well, I mean, they account for like 67% of our population, bro.
That's true.
It's like,
yeah. And the other 30% are Cowboys fans.
There we go. Yeah. Sprinkling some Steelers. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I just thought that was funny. I really wanted to bring that up. But I think I keep referring to we as fans, not you and I.
Yeah, it's like when a kid tells you McDonald's is the best restaurant in the world because they sell the most burgers. You see what I'm saying? It's like you can't really argue with him because his point can't be disproven in the mind the size of an almond. You see what I'm saying? So it's like
okay, so you really like these burgers, but I promise you, if you go have the steak or Ruth Chris, you're gonna have a different opinion on what the best restaurant is.
Yeah, if you put him on and you say, "Little bro, I'm gonna take you to go get a prime rib burger over here at wherever," and he's gonna go, "That burger not better. They don't sell more that than Big Macs." It's like you can't
Yeah.
really say until you.
It's like I knew this one dude one time who I forget. I think it was somebody I worked with at Academy would talk about a rapper being better than another one because one had more money than the
They
other.
sell more, whatever. Yeah,
Yeah, I thought it was really funny. But Seattle's living proof in this day of age where people want to see, over the top explosive plays, gunslingers going for it on fourth down. Seattle is the embodiment of that's not what you do to win championships. Seattle, I'm pretty sure this year went for it the least amount of times on fourth down. And we've talked about it. I think the death of the Dan Campbell regime in Detroit is going to be not coaching a football game and taking what's handed to you versus trying to, go for it on every fourth down, which in this day and age, I get it. But, I think it was amazing that how much control that these guys had over the game because the Patriots literally couldn't do anything. I mean, I'm looking at these drives and I mean, in the first half, the Patriots picked up 28, 32. No, excuse me. 28, 34, 39, lost 2, 37. I mean, these guys didn't have 50 yards of offense in the first half. And there was at one point of the game where they're about, they're getting close to midfield and it's fourth and short. And everybody's like, hey, they're going to go for it, whatever. And they punt the ball. But the way that offense was playing on New England, why risk it? That's what you call trust your defense. They trusted their defense, and their defense took over this game, absolutely sabotaged them. I just want to compare some stats here for just a second. Let me get this.
And shout out to the Cedar Shoals legend, man, Coach Mike McDonald, bro.
That's true. How about
another peach baby?
How about him
and Mariah Taylor at that? Might as well go ahead and throw her in there. I didn't know both of them basically graduated a year apart from there.
Yeah, no, that was really cool to see.
Yeah.
But you look here, what's their heads? Patriots lost 6 sacks. They turned the ball over, 3 times? Let me make sure that's right. Yeah, they turned the ball over 3 times. Of course, we've already talked about it. Seattle doesn't turn the ball over once. And they just, again, they look in control the entire time they're on the field. We're watching it. Hey, who's going to be the guy through the air, especially this team with the receivers that they have. But the star of the show is Kenneth Walker. Everybody thought, a lot of people were making the jokes about that, is the kicker going to win? Is he going to win the Super Bowl MVP? Has that ever happened? Blah, blah, blah. But Kenneth Walker really took over that game, was the biggest weapon of offense on either team. And it's just amazing how good these guys are. Hey, we may not be able to beat you throwing the ball everywhere, but we're going to play complementary football and show that's still how you win football. So I'm really excited to see what Mike McDonald's building, because he came from Baltimore. A lot of the Baltimore fans, I get in hindsight, are like, why do we not keep him? Blah 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 blah. Really,
that was a huge thing, Joey.
Yeah,
that was legit a huge thing. I mean, that's kind of why I think they'll always have a huge appreciation for Coach Harbaugh out there in Baltimore. But that is a very big reason why there was a big portion of that fan base that was ready to run him out of town, because they felt like they had reached that point to where it was time to pass that badge of honor onto Coach McDonald. And kind of the same way that Belichick felt about Garoppolo walking on. That was a huge thing with him and Robert Kraft falling out, because in football, obviously, people want to be ahead of the curve. Simple as that. And I think that's why Baltimore fans ultimately felt the way they did about Coach Mike. But yeah, now on both sides of the ball, I think that Seattle have reasons for us to believe that, especially when Stafford retires after like this next season, they're probably going to have their way, especially at least in that division for the next 5 seasons. So how they approach the draft and player retainment will be huge over these next 2 years, because I know that there's probably at least 2 or 3 guys on that defense that will be looking to get paid some big bucks here soon.
Yeah, for sure. Now, one thing I kind of want to point out too, there's a lot of angles to go with this game. And I love how huge this game is. You know, like it basically becomes a national holiday. I always really enjoy that. But I really want to get, and I understand their importance of the game. So I guess I can't really downplay that. I want to get to the point where we can watch a team win a game and not throw it on the shoulders of the quarterback and say, he finally did it. He got him over the hump. Because as good as, Sam Darnold was, did not making mistakes like that. I mean, the guy, he went 19 of 38, and both teams were awful on third down. Awful on third down. They were horrible. I think they were combined. So the Seahawks went 4 of 16 on third down. And really, the Patriots were better on third down, 6 to 15, which a lot of those came in the third quarter, or excuse me, in the fourth quarter when the game was already decided, much like Drake May's yards too. And where was I going with that? But
I mean, both teams, Joey. I mean, to your point, to kind of piggyback off you as well. First downs, Seahawks 20, Patriots 18. So
those 3 turnovers, man.
Done, the turnovers were what did it.
Yeah, and turnovers plus the I know you just compared the first downs, but the momentum that the Patriots just totally relinquished by not having any kind of offense, and the Seahawks didn't have to take any risk. They could play the game as safe as they want and win it. And as much as this is an entertainment game. That's what professional sports is. These guys are playing to win football games, so we don't have to go extravagant, make all these memorable plays for this to happen. So be it. But we want to see a game that comes down to the wire. That's how it goes. But this Seattle team, man, at the end of the day, I think they're still really good. I think if you're built, you don't have to have prime Mahomes, Manning, Brady to win a Super Bowl. You don't have to have that. You have to have somebody who's serviceable, obviously. But when you're as complete as these guys all around at every single level of the field, you don't have to. Patriots, they had obvious flaws, offensive line especially, not a ton of weapons outside, and that killed them this game. They couldn't get anything. I mean, these guys were blanketed.
8 targets to Mac Hollins versus 5 to Butte. I mean, it's just like some of these things, some of the optics of this kind of just look lopsided to me. Truthfully, I know people will say, Graham, look at the analytics. I know Mac Hollins has a shit ton more receiving yards than Kayshon Butte probably does for the year, because of the fact that if you've even watched an inkling of New England play this year, he is their kind of gadget guy. He's their trickster guy. They did trick plays with him throughout the playoffs. Not that it was necessarily a trick play that got him wide open for that touchdown, but they scheme him open with certain plays that are geared towards giving the offense a spark. Whereas I think Butte is kind of trying to be played as a traditional number 1 or number 2 guy. And when you're playing at the biggest stage and you're playing against the best defense like you are in Seattle, I know it's tough to feed a guy, especially when you got a young quarterback. But I just think that if this game were to go, in New England's favor and you don't have a run game, you got to have guys like Diggs and Butte being way more impactful than they were. And even if that means trying to force feed them, I would have preferred seeing Diggs with 15, Diggs 3 targets. I mean, that's just nuts to me, bro.
Yeah.
I don't care. No. I don't care about the fact that he dropped the ball or, that he had that bad drop. Like, that's just bad, man.
Yeah, there was a lot of questions about that. Shout out, how about Auburn alum Derek Hall up front? I'm pretty sure one of his sacks, because he had 2, I'm pretty sure one of them was him bull rushing Jared Wilson from Georgia into Drake May, and then he forced one of the fumbles. Yeah. So, I mean, these guys were just having their way in every facet. And
Wilson kind of caught a break with the fact that Campbell had a worse night than he did, because he definitely would have been on some TikToks.
Dude, I'm pretty sure Campbell had allowed the most pressures this postseason. Which, I mean, to be fair, he played all 4 rounds. So I mean, you had the most mathematically, but
had the most opportunities. But
14,
but 14 pressures over 4 games is
But if you watch him play, you know, like, oh, he was getting. Dude, you remember what Will Anderson did to him?
Yeah.
Will Anderson was absolutely losing his mind. He struggles a lot with speed rushers. He struggles a lot with speed. The guys that attack that. So if he's facing this way, attack that left shoulder,
That
and try
left
to
shoulder, yeah.
get vertical on him.
Now
Dude, he's
Trayvon Walker had his way with him as well. And I mean,
yeah.
as you know, Trayvon is a very, kind of textbook rusher. He's going to hit you with a kind of a melody, a medley of moves, as they say. He's not necessarily going to be able to just be a freak with like one move like a bull rush. He's going to hit you with a blend of moves, and he was certainly putting Campbell in the blender when they played them this year as well. So I do think bouncing him inside though, he's got so much football IQ. He's a high character guy. They'll be all right if they make that move. But if they keep him on that island, I'm telling you right now, man,
Yeah, it's gonna be rough for him.
But shouts to the Seahawks, man. Shouts to one of the two teams that Joey kind of had, nodded to win it all year. I know between them and the Rams, Joey was kind of leaning towards these two NFC powerhouses, and like we've said on the pod many a times, that's looking like it's going to be the matchup, for the coming years.
Dude, I don't think. I mean, I think next year, the Niners, the Rams, and the Seahawks are all going to make the playoffs again. I think the Seahawks they're so well put together. They're good at every level. GM's fantastic, owner's fantastic, coach is fantastic, and I think Robert Kraft's still a great owner, and I think Vrabel's a great coach. I'm not taking either of those away from them. Excuse me. But obviously, they have way less flaws to cover up. And, you're going to have your all seasons. Some guys are going to leave. People are want to get paid. Da-da-da-da-da. I mean, obviously, Kubiak is going to the Raiders. So, I mean, this could be an entirely different team, which that's kind of the detractor. I've said this earlier on the shows from these teams who are defensive coordinator, or have a really good defensive mind, is your head coaches are going to your offensive coordinators are going to be head coaches. You look at Todd Bowles, losing Liam Cohen and Dave Canales.
Right.
You look at Dan Campbell, who's not really a defensive minded per se, but he's a CEO kind of guy.
Sure.
He loses
Ben Johnson
to Chicago. So I mean, it's just part of the game. It is what it is. But just from how these guys are put together, man, I don't think the Seahawks are going anywhere.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. I mean, when you look at the young core, the young coach, and I think the fact that locker room is got the right balance of ego. I know JSN has a good swagger, a good bit of swagger about him, and Darnold is coming into his own. He'll be 30 soon. Got a Super Bowl under his belt. That's the right amount of ego. You definitely want guys to take pride in their work. You definitely want guys to take pride in their accomplishments that they knock off in this league where everybody is hunting for everybody, even guys on your practice squad. As much as they're celebrating with you and jumping up and down with you during the wins and, giving you a shoulder to lean on during the losses, them boys are hunting for your spot. They're trying to do what they got to do for their family just like you are, but they're just not on TV. And so it's a very complex game, and that definitely doesn't stop when it comes into locker room management and how you manage personalities. But you've seen a lot of the pundits that are close to the game, kind of mention that the Seahawks are just a chill ass team. They really don't have anybody in that locker room who's trying to be a me guy. And when guys are at that perfect, got that good median age in your locker room, I think their median age players like 26. This 3-year window is going to be something crazy for them for sure. So we can't.
You know what? Speaking of them, how about the emergence this year? And I know he's only a rookie of Nicky Manwari.
Manwari, yeah,
dude, he was. And you want to talk about that account? Like, you remember when he was getting into it with Woolley? I talked about this last week. After getting that stupid, what's it called? Where he was taunting the sideline against the Rams. I mean, he got into him for that. And Nicky Manwari was one of the best players on the field on Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely. No,
I can't believe he made it. I've said this on several occasions too. I don't need to keep referencing that I've said this stuff, but the fact that he made it to the second round blows my mind. I mean, dude had the best combine performance of all time. That really makes you say, "Hey, what are we doing this combine thing for?" In my opinion,
yeah, I think a lot of the scouts were so reluctant from how much they bit the bait on players in the past who did so good at the combine that they maybe just got apprehensive at the last minute for the wrong reasons. But
Yeah.
yeah, me, you, Josh, and Trip were all talking about how insane he looked at the combine last year, and I think we all kind of figured that because we figured the Ravens would take him with the pick they had. They picked Malachi.
I thought he was going to go before Malachi. I really
Yeah,
did.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't think he's better than Malachi per se, but I thought he was going to go. So
Yeah.
another point I want to hit to you, Graham. How bad was the AFC this year?
Yikes, man. I mean, when your big dogs are having down years like the Chiefs did, and the Bills are as fraudulent as they are, I mean, if you want to take that ride with me to Fraud City, I know sometimes. I know sometimes.
Oh, look, there's Josh Allen out here doing his he's raking the leaves up out here in Fraud City.
Insane, man, dude.
You think he's got waterfront property?
No, he's at City Hall right now trying to get another rule changed.
So, dude, I saw somebody's they called Drake made the schedule. They called Josh Allen the rule changer or something like that.
The rule book.
Yeah. The rule book. That's it.
No, man. I mean, I've really had it out for this guy since they gave him that MVP last year, and the numbers were as lopsided as they were, bro. The amount of narratives that people had to invent, like fucking chemist and alchemist, to explain to me how, bro, if you actually just look at the numbers, it's insane to me, bro. It shouldn't surprise anyone how much other stuff the league just basically spoon feeds this guy from this point forward. When you see something like that happen, bro, that was highway robbery. I couldn't.
That was awful. That was a here damn. Finally, you take one. That's what that one. That Lamar doing what he did with his legs, but throwing 41 tuds.
41 tuds for 4 interceptions.
There's no way he should not have won. Just give me 1 second. But my nose out.
68% completion percentage.
If Drake May would have done that,
man,
dog. And we're going to talk about MVP here in a little bit, but I don't know what it is. It is so funny because you saw Dan Orlovsky and Mina Kimes get into it, which me and you both agree. Matt Stafford should have won MVP. There's no question about that. But the argument he had for Stafford this year was like his argument against Lamar last year, which is really funny. But before we get into them, close on this AFC conversation, and then let's kind of just close Super Bowl, get into the awards real quick.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's tough, man. I mean, you got Joe Burrow dealing with what he's dealing with out in Cincinnati, Pat having the down year he had this year. The Bills, as much as they, beat who they're supposed to beat consistently, he's a turnover machine. I'm not going to sit here and try and scapegoat anything else. Josh Allen has a turnover problem, whether it's the volume of turnovers or the timing, the propensity to turn the ball over at the worst times and hand out donuts and meatball subs, like you're trying to feed, those in need, is crazy. So, of course, the AFC is going to be having a down year when, on paper, the top 3 teams that at least I'm projecting to be right there at the top in the mix of things each year are struggling the way that they are. And obviously, the Chiefs with bringing Bieniemy back and stuff, I see some of the usual suspects kind of getting, back into the mix of things next year. Hopefully Cincinnati can turn it around. But yeah, I don't know if it was the worst year or the most lopsided year of all time, because there's been some pretty bad NFC representatives as well.
Right.
From our earlier years growing up, you and I watching some of those early bowls, but it was pretty bad this year for sure.
Well, I'm looking at it
but I don't think the Patriots would have made it if they had a better schedule.
Well, if Bo Nix didn't get hurt, they wouldn't have made it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, and my thing is, like, real quick, just don't take more than 3 seconds when I ask you to answer this. Was there a more complete team in the playoffs in the AFC than the Jacksonville Jaguars? More complete overall team.
The Patriots.
See,
I
that's
felt like the Patriots were one of the most balanced teams just because they had a fraudulent schedule on paper. If you were to tell me that you still got Diggs, you still got, that run game with Ramondre Stevenson, that well coached O line, that well coached defense.
I'm
Uh,
taking Brian Thomas over Diggs. I'm taking Travis Etienne Jr. I'm taking him
over
over
Ramondre.
Stevenson. Yes, those guys were on fire, dude. If they would have beat Buffalo, they would have won the Super Bowl. Buffalo just and honestly, like Trevor Lawrence throws a pick to seal that game. Not even a bad throw, just a really good play by who is it? Tre'Davion White made a really big play. But I feel like they were the team who I thought was the best at all levels because everybody else had one clear flaw to
Law.
me
Yeah.
over, and I just
But I
feel like
mean, I feel like T Law was their clear flaw, to be real with you.
T Law had a really good year. He
He had
threw
a good year, but I
he
think a lot
38
of people was
tuds and
waiting
like
for him to
10
come around.
picks. And he was playing great. He had a really good game that week.
Joe, I've always been a big T Law believer, bro. But I'm speaking. Maybe I'm playing devil's advocate, but
No, that's fine.
I think the same way that you felt the way that you felt about Drake May being the Patriots kind of clear flaw. Correct me if I'm wrong on that.
No, I wasn't saying that. No, I was.
So what you felt like the Patriots
Their
flaw
offensive line and their lack of weapons is their clear
Okay.
flaw.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Drake May was second in MVP voting. He's not a flaw. He had a horrible playoff, which I mean that is what it is. So, but
So is the MVP? So you justifying him not being the flaw was the season that he got MVP voting on that we're calling fraudulent as well. We know that season was kind of fraudulent. So
I have more, and I'll get into this here in a little bit. Why I don't think it's fraudulent per se. I'll explain it coming here in a little bit. But I mean, they played a team where what's his name? Justin Herbert's offensive line was on the sideline watching them play, absolutely destroyed. And then CJ Stroud throws 4 interceptions in a game. Broncos starting quarterback breaks their ankle, fractures his ankle in a game. All like they had the perfect slew of everything happen. I think, I mean, obviously, if Josh Allen didn't get hurt, if the Jaguars would have played Buffalo, beat them, the best quarterback he would have played at this playoff, based on how they've been this year, would have been Trevor Lawrence, bar none. And the two best quarterbacks in the AFC did not play the Patriots. That's what I'll say. In the AFC this year, two best did not play the Patriots. And I mean, you look at it, we talk about Josh Allen's turnovers, which I 100% agree that is a problem, but they almost won that game. Of course, it was a turnover that didn't seal it, but that just shows you the team. They had a game where they had 5 turnovers and almost beat the team that made the AFC Championship. Like that's how poor this conference was this year. Is that
we forgot about the Ravens being poor? Forgot to mention them.
Well,
so,
I mean, yeah, and I mean they're similar to Cincinnati, where their star quarterback's hurt. There was a lot of passive aggressiveness about the relationship between Lamar and his coaching staff, front office. Well, it seems not to be the front office, but more so the coaching staff, which Monken alluded to. That's something he feel like he could have handled better. Kind of sound like a PR stunt to kind of ease things. Neither here nor there. But I mean, the Steelers sucked.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. The Steelers sucked. It's that franchise's inability to find a quarterback has been startling, and I think that was one of the things that was kind of led to Tomlin eventually leaving, was that they could never get that right.
Yeah, because for a while they just needed a quarterback, and now they need an entire offense. So
yes, they need everything.
Yeah, now they walking backwards. So.
Aside from them being the Steelers, that job is not very attractive.
Yeah,
you're gonna get time. You're gonna have good ownership, but your quarterback this year is going to be Aaron Rodgers.
Are they officially running it back, William?
I would assume so. all the reports are trending that he probably will. I mean, McCarthy's coming back. That's his guy. So a lot of questions there. But the AFC really had a rough outing this year.
Let me tell you something, brother. I don't know if you're getting a call that I'm not getting, but I heard Mason Rudolph gonna be warming that F-150 up in the morning, bro. I don't know what you hearing about A-Rod making a return back to Pittsburgh, but I ain't been getting them calls, bro.
Well, of course, it's not. Of course, it's going to be somebody like Rudolph.
Yeah,
That's how it's going to end up being.
for sure. So,
But hey, let's get to these award winners. So last week, a few nights before the NFL, or excuse me, the Super Bowl, they had the NFL honors, which Bijan was the DJ for that. That was really funny to see.
yeah, that was an interesting little surprise.
Yeah. So I'm going to go over some of the big awards real quick. I'm just going to highlight them, and then we can start from the top and build down. So MVP, Matt Stafford from the Rams. Coach of the Year, Vrabel from the Pats. Comeback Player of the Year. This should just be called the Christian McCaffrey Award or Joe Burrow Award. It goes to Christian McCaffrey. Offensive Player of the Year, JSN. Defensive Player of the Year, of course, Myles Garrett broke the sack record. AP Offensive Rookie of the Year, Ted McMillan. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Carson Schlesinger from the Browns.
That's well deserved, though. Yeah.
Yeah, and so and we'll highlight this too. Our Super Bowl inductee, or excuse me, Hall of Fame inductees: Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald, Luke Kuechly, Adam Vinatieri, Roger Craig. Roger Craig, they've been trying to get him in for 25 years. Really good to see him get in. But yeah, so really good Hall of Fame class there. Luke Kuechly, it was weird because he didn't quite have the longevity a lot of these guys have, but during that peak, and his peak was long enough, there wasn't a better inside linebacker than him.
No, he's a lot like Patrick Willis and Navarro Bowman. Like, you don't have to play for 15 seasons when you're that good. When you play for 11 and you all pro 8, you did what you had to do, brother.
And he stepped the day
save that brain.
That's second year. From that second year on, he was the best inside linebacker in the league, and it wasn't even a debate.
Yeah. No.
So, but here, I'll stop from the top of MVP.
Savant of the game as well, man. Shouts out to everybody who made it in that. The Hall of Fame class. The GOAT Larry Fitz. More touch. What is it? He got less drops than. What's that crazy stat that you or Tripp said the other day about Larry Fitzgerald? He got more games with 3 touchdowns than drops in his career or something like that.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, something crazy. So
yeah,
shouts out to everybody in the class who made it. I know Belichick didn't make it and people were up in arms about it, but there's obviously a whole list of stipulations that is better off for another episode as to why that is probably the case.
Yeah.
But as far as the NFL honors and everybody who got the awards from this year, I'm gonna go ahead and just tip my hat to Myles Garrett, the most deserved award. I feel but hell of a season for Myles Garrett. The few games that I watched from him were insane.
I'm looking here. I mean, honestly, I think the Coach of the Year is debatable.
Yeah, I would have given it to McDonald. Yeah,
I feel like most of these were pretty right. I mean, Ted McMillan was the best rookie. Seemed like Dart had it for a little bit. Then I thought maybe a quarterback would get it. Shuck turned out to me, he looked like the best quarterback this year. But Ted McMillan was the best weapon on I guess, I don't know, maybe you call Rico Dowdle a better weapon, but give or take, the best weapon on a playoff team. A team that backdoored themselves all the way into the playoffs, but playoff team nonetheless. So, but starting with MVP, the big one, Matt Stafford gets his MVP, maybe punches his ticket into the Hall of Fame. I feel like that, that could have potentially played that role in there. I saw a lot of people saying Drake May should have won and that Matt Stafford's MVP was a Lifetime Achievement Award. Kind of like, I like to compare it to Nas getting a Grammy for the first time for Best Rap Album in, what was it? The year Alfredo. That was 22, something like that.
Yeah.
In which some people deserve that. Matt Stafford led the league in passing touchdowns and led the league in passing yards as well. Drake May getting this would have been Josh Allen repeated. That's exactly what it would have been. And I'm not saying you got to have it to the guy that just has the best numbers, but when you have somebody who threw 15 more touchdowns, or I think did he have 46? whatever it was. I think he had 15 more touchdowns, same amount of interceptions. It would have been if Matt Stafford didn't play that bad game against the Falcons, this game would not have even been a debate. Like this wouldn't have even been a debate. Let me see if I can find this TikTok because this guy basically said that Drake May got punished for not playing. Got punished for beating the Jets, maybe more than Matt Stafford got punished for playing a bad game against the Falcons. And my whole thing was first, like, why? What was it? Like, why are we taking one game away to wipe out an entire season? You know what I mean? Like, that's not how this works. Here, I think I got the video right here. It is. Yeah, hold on one sec.
I think this is a lifetime achievement award for Matthew Stafford. I think if he was 29, there is no way the voting would have gone down the way that it did. 2 seasons ago, Brock Purdy was the most efficient quarterback in the NFL, and the 49ers were a 1 seed. But he finished 4th place in the voting. Why was he taxed? Because when it's a young 7th-round pick, I guess then voters put 2 and 2 together, the effect that these Shanahan...
Yeah, see, I'm not going to go into it, but that was kind of his ultimate premise. And very smart guy when it comes to football. But I don't want this award. First, I hate this award becoming the best quarterback award. Like, let's just call it the best quarterback award if that's what it's going to be. I think the last non-quarterback to win was Adrian Peterson. That was 14 years ago. 13, 14 years ago, whatever, depending on how you want to look at the season. So, that was the last time it happened. And I understand the quarterback's importance into the game, but we can't do the Derrick Rose MVP of the best player on the number 1 seed or with the team with the best record. I hate that. And I hate the guy, not literally him. I hate the guy whose logic it was that he voted Justin Herbert MVP because of how much he had to carry. And then it gets into the term, well, he's more valuable, which we know it. Dude, it's the best player. Like, come on. The guy who puts up the best numbers, we know that's who it's going to be. And Stafford, I thought, by and large, had that. I don't want this to turn it, not even more than a best quarterback on the best team. I don't want this to turn into a nerdy efficiency stat. Oh, he had the best EPA. He had the best completion percentage when passes over 10 yards. Like, dude, this game is about scoring the ball. He threw 15 more touchdowns. And you can point to, there's no doubt that the fact that Matt Stafford's got the better receivers. He's got Devontae Adams and Puka. The first best, so Stephon Diggs would be the 3rd or 4th best receiver on that team. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I got a little.
I get that point, but let me just finish this real quick. I get that point, but what we are left with is what happened on the field. And I hate the idea of discounting players because they play with good people. That's not how this award is supposed to go. That's not how that's not how this goes.
No, man. And I mean, and you and I, share mics on the pod because ultimately we're going to have, similarities and differences in our opinions on how we, have our outlooks on these things. Now, me personally, when it comes to MVP, a really heavy piece of criteria for me is how valuable a guy is actually to a team. Like, you have to be the most valuable player on your team for me to even consider you a viable MVP candidate. You can lead the league in receiving, but if you've got the best quarterback and the best edge rusher on your team, maybe per se, just as an example, like let's say Odell led the league in receiving that year and receiving touchdowns, but we knowing that Aaron Donald and Matthew Stafford are both playing MVP level football as well. Like, at that point, you kind of have to lean towards a guy like Stafford because the ball is in his hands the entire game. If he's not throwing the ball away, like, having turnovers and stuff like that, ultimately, you can say that your success as a receiver is coming down to him being as successful as he is as the quarterback. Like, there's just ways to kind of look at it, but I am big on the whole, like, how valuable you actually are to your team. Just a quick little example. That's why I was kind of so up in arms about Lindor not winning the MVP over Ohtani a couple years ago. You could have took Ohtani off that Dodgers team. They would have won, damn near the same amount of games as they did with him. If you took Lindor off that Mets team, they'd have been as good as the Rockies. Like that's a fact. So it's like you do actually have to use that as criteria because it does make a difference. But I 100% see where you're coming from, Joey. And when the margins are as lopsided as they were with Drake May and Matthew Stafford, it's appropriate for the voters and the fans to, respect the game for what it is. Like you said, we're out here to throw tuds. When you out there throwing the ball, you're out there to throw tuds. You're not out there to ideally be a game manager and do all these things that we start talking about when we get deeply analytical.
Right.
You want your quarterback to sling that motherfucking pill and put it in the end zone. And Matthew Stafford is the embodiment of that for sure, 100%. Like he's been that his whole career. So fuck you to the guys, not Theo individually. I'm not saying that, but fuck you to the guys who are using this as a way to knock Matthew Stafford's lifetime achievement of winning an MVP of finally in his career, because that is a lifetime achievement, but that doesn't mean he didn't deserve it this year.
Yeah.
I kind of see how people are trying to use that as a double entendre, like a backhanded compliment.
It's low hanging fruit. It's such low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
A guy that's played for almost 20, getting close to 20 years, finally wins a MVP. It's got to be okay. Here you go. You've earned this.
Yeah.
No, the dude was the best quarterback in the league this year. There's nothing to debate. And I hate this. I hate the evaluation of quarterbacks turning so nerdy into the most efficient quarterback.
Yeah.
Like Mark Jackson said, what happened to the game I love?
Right. Or Sean Deitch, the game's gone. So but no, I mean, like I was actually gonna say this. Funny enough, now that you bring that up about Mark Jackson, that Mark Jackson quote was beautifully timed. But like when you talk to some like real ball enjoyers this year, a lot of people were saying, bro, like thank God Stafford stuck around because this is the football we grew up on loving. Like the game
100%.
is the game is clearly evolving into a defensive, pragmatic chess match. Every game is like a chess match. Like what happened to knowing, we're 5 games better than this team in the wins department. We need to go out here and hang 40 on these boys. Like,
Yeah.
you used to know that your coach was feeling that same way going into Sunday when your team had that kind of momentum and whatnot. And now I just feel like every week games are either unnecessarily close or unnecessarily lopsided. Like you shouldn't be losing by 40 more times than like once in a season. Period. Like, this is the pros. Like you should not be getting beat by 32 and 35 points, multiple times in a season. I know you and I kind of talk about that, off the pod multiple times throughout the season about how like, yeah, man, it's never good when there's this many bad teams.
Yeah.
There's some really stinky teams in the league for sure. So,
Well, I guess we'll go ahead. I feel like I had a point, but probably wasn't important.
You started thinking about the Jets and Raiders in your mind. Just
No, they've got, and me and you were texting today about the NBA's got to figure something about tanking.
Right.
We can't, and respectfully, we can't let the Jets, the Raiders, and the Giants keep getting top 5 picks every year. We've got to find a
don't leave them Titans out.
We've talked about how great no Titans absolutely in that one. We've talked about how we enjoy Graham is a much bigger fan than I, but we both enjoy watching the English Premier League and soccer. And it makes you think like, man, I really like the idea of relegation. Like I really enjoy it. I don't know what they got to do to get it figured out.
How cool would it be if we gave the Birmingham Stallions $370 million of cap room and said, just be better than the Raiders, Titans, and the Jets? Like, I think they could do it.
They'd figure it out.
I think they could do it.
But let's get on to AP Coach of the Year, Vrabel. I feel like, Vrabel was kind of the betting favorite to win this. I really thought it should have been Shanahan. I thought Shanahan had the toughest job this year with all the injuries that they've sustained. And, he said it when they beat the Eagles. Like, 3 of these guys weren't on our team a month ago. A bunch of the linebackers. Kittle was hurt most of the year. Receivers are hurt. The Ricky Pearsall played like 4 games, it feels like. Brock Purdy was out for a while. Mac Jones stepped in and was lighting it up. And I don't think they're going to get rid of him, but if they wanted to, they can get a lot for Mac Jones. So he made himself a very valuable asset, trade asset especially. But I thought with that job that he did, getting them to the playoffs and, as well as good as they were, I thought he should have won it. But at the same time, Vrabel comes in here, takes a team from 3-14 to 14-3, switches it around, really instills that mind frame, helps Drake May take that step. And this team is firing on all cylinders, schedule or not. He totally flipped this team's future around and made the Tennessee Titans somehow look like bigger idiots than they already were.
Than they already were, yeah.
For firing it. And that's kind of like you can pour more gas on a fire. Is it really going to get more hot? No, it is what it is. But Tennessee, they somehow made themselves they somehow poured a little more lighter fluid on and made themselves look dumber.
Yeah, they were supposed to shoot themselves in the foot and they shot themselves in the head. But
yeah, exactly.
As the Jets, so beautifully, described themselves.
Yeah.
This season. I think Brees and
but
Coach AG was talking about that. But I didn't really have nothing against Vrabel winning Coach of the Year. I think that was the right pick.
And honestly, there were so many head coaches that were
deserving
home run fires. Yes. Like I think you could have made a case, obviously, for Vrabel. You could have made a case for Shanahan. Could have made a case for Sean Payton. Ben Johnson, Liam Cohen, like all those guys, you could have made a legitimate case for. So I think that was a really tough year to do what Shanahan did in terms of winning Coach of the Year. But I don't have a problem with Vrabel per se. I don't understand what comeback player of the year is anymore. I just don't get it.
Yeah, no, I would think it should be more designated to players who had a really, like, if we're just being honest, they either had to have a really bad performative year and come back and just be outstanding, or a bad injury. I think those are the only two objective avenues to take with it.
Yeah, at least that's the most consistent pattern.
Yeah, right.
From what we've seen.
Right. Yeah.
So, but McCaffrey was probably the second best running back in the league this year behind Bijan. And I think
for the betterment of the league, though, we might have to cap him off. The same way they did with the 6-man award with Crawford. It's like, we're going to just name it after you so we can stop giving it to you.
Him and Burrow. If Burrow wins the next year, we know it's a sham.
Exactly. There we go.
To me, you shouldn't I guess he came back. I'm going to say my opinion for when it makes more sense. But AP, Offensive Player of the Year, JSN, led the league in receiving yards this year. I thought Bijan had a chance to win this, but I know obviously they're making the playoffs didn't help much by any means. Which, speaking of the Falcons, really, really rough week for us with JPJ going absolutely rogue.
Yeah, he made bail though. So,
silver
lining for you.
Dude, I think they're about to make an example out of him. If X amount of those charges are true, and there's so much that hasn't been.
I can't really comment on character right now because we don't know what's factual and what's not. But obviously, if what's being implied is true, the last thing we worried about JPJ doing is getting on a football field again.
Absolutely, 1,000%.
He need to go. He need to go where everybody who do that type of shit need to go.
Yeah,
I do want to apologize if my comment was tone deaf. I was saying that more so as like, we're assuming if somebody is, making bail, that there's at least going to be some type of a litigation. So until that's done,
it's not like it's
any character assessments.
Yes, I knew exactly what you meant, but I appreciate you clarifying.
Yeah.
But back to JSN, I mean, he had so many games this year where he had just huge receiving totals. I'm gonna get his game log pulled up here in a second. Once JSN. Game log. I honestly thought it was gonna go, or my opinion, I thought Puka should have won it because he put up some ludicrous.
I wouldn't have been mad if James Cook won it.
James Cook had a very good case. Honestly, again, this is one of those years where I think it's just how important receivers they've taken the importance of what running backs used to be.
Yeah.
But I think Bijan and Cook had a very good case for that. But I'm just gonna go through real quick some of JSN's receiving totals this year. You got 124, 103, 96, 132, 162, 123, 129, 105, 167, 113. Like, he had lots of big games and was the best team in the league. Was their number one source of offense. Say what?
dropping them road to glory numbers casually.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
But yeah, a team that didn't have a ton of really explosive weapons. He was kind of the guy who was like, "Whoa, I'm here."
yeah.
Now, little a little question for you: do you think he cracks top 3 best receivers in the league?
Ooh.
Not just from this year, just in the league right now.
Yeah,
I
today.
think it's Chase in no order: Chase, Nakua, and Jefferson. I think those 3 are pretty stamped.
Wow, man, it's such a tough one, man. I still gotta go Chase, Jettas, and me personally, I think I would slide JSN over Nakua just because of one detail. And we talking about today. Like, for one, the man just won a Super Bowl. He was offensive player of the year. We got to give him his flowers. We're doing a rating purely based off of today. I think he's better at naturally getting separation than Nakua. Now, I'm not trying to make any slights at Nakua. We're literally going, apples and oranges right here. We both are going to enjoy this fruit salad of football. But I just personally enjoy the way that JSN, or appreciate the way that JSN is able to get himself open naturally based off of his footwork and the way he can run the route tree, whether that be in the X, the Y, or the Z.
Yeah.
He's only 5'11", and they played him on all 3 spots, like, at will. He's really a football savant already at this young age. And Nakua has a lot of great qualities, and the one that I enjoy the most is the fact that he got that fucking dog in him. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
just like, let's just call a spade a spade. Like, if we gotta throw that thing up and ask one of those 3 to come down in it in traffic right now, I'm taking Nakua. You know what I'm saying? Like, straight up. But that is only one element of being a receiver.
Well, Brady broke it down.
It's a real close call.
Brady broke it down really well, and I think he does a great job. He doesn't tip what route he's about to run. Like, the plane of his shoulders, I think, is the phrase that he used.
Oh, yeah.
It never, like, some guys lean a certain way, they're going to run a fade or they're going to run a slant, X, Y, and Z, and he doesn't do that. Like, he doesn't tip his pitches, if you will.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, definitely well deserved. Myles Garrett, AP Defensive Player of the Year. I feel like this is probably the easiest award to give.
100%.
When you break the sack record. Did it? I'm pretty sure. I know a lot of the Steelers fans were like, it took more games than TJ Watt, but I think he did it in less snaps on a horrible team as well.
I think he did that, and didn't he also break the sack record for sacks in a game this year as well? Didn't he break?
I don't know if he broke the
season?
record, but he did have like a game where he had 5 or 6 sacks.
It was 5. That's insane, man.
I think the record's higher than that, but yeah, just that was the most random game ever. Like, wait a minute, the Browns, they lost this game, but Myles Garrett had 5 sacks, which actually is like the most Browns thing ever.
Right.
But I don't know. I'm weird about how I feel about Myles Garrett. Just on a separate note, like we were talking about earlier, having your cake and eat it too. I don't want to hear you ever complain about losing, because you requested to trade, wanted to leave, but they paid you and you stayed. Like you had your shot.
Oh yeah, I know you think. I mean, pardon me. I hope you and I agree on that. I mean, that's not even a topic of debate. But just like Defensive Player of the Year wasn't a topic of debate either. I mean, no question, the most impactful position on defense, and he was the most impactful player on defense in the league. So that was a shoe-in for sure.
Yeah, and I know, like, people kind of said, like, the sack that broke the record against Burrow, he kind of Brett Favre'd it, kind of fell down. But if you watch that play, he got off the line so fast. Joe Burrow was going to get annihilated, as he's been doing his whole career, but he was going to get destroyed.
Yeah, Joey B wanted to play next year.
Yeah, exactly.
He made a business call. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, best pass rusher in the game, probably maybe the best player in football, straight up.
On his day when he wants to, yeah, I mean,
I think he's the best player.
I think he's the closest regen to LT that we got.
Yeah, especially from doing most of your damage on the edge like he does. Like, Aaron Donald was the freak of all freaks. Like, he was like Warren Sapp on steroids.
Yeah, he's the defensive player of all time to me.
Yeah,
Aaron Donald. but just edge specifically and being that reincarnation of LT. And I mean, let's not get it twisted, man. Miles can stop that fucking run too. I mean,
Yeah.
he'll stuff the run. I mean, he's a hell of an edge defender. He was a
I,
freak coming out of college, and he's done nothing but get better basically every year. So
yeah. I want a little bit of my nerd going in here. I think Aaron Donald is the best receiver or defensive player I've personally ever seen. Actually, there's no thing he is, but I think LT might be the best football player of all time. I really think what he did in the '80s, man, was absolute mayhem. Defensive outside linebacker / defensive end, won an MVP. So, but that's
while being a walking narcotic. Yeah, I mean, it's like,
dude, I saw. You know what's funny? This was probably over 10 years ago. I was at La Paria in Powder Springs, and I look up and I see a guy dressed in a nice suit. I look up and I'm like, God, this guy looks familiar. Whatever. Went back into Eaton. I walked to the bathroom. I see him. I'm like, that's freaking Lawrence Taylor. What is he doing in Powder Springs? Apparently his son lives there. But once I realized who that was, I was like, oh my God. It's like me. I mean, you know me. I'm a NFL. I'm a sports historian buff, and Lawrence Taylor was kind of the first old player when
that was always your guy. Yeah.
Guy I didn't get to see play that I really became enamored with. So that was a really cool moment. All right, we talked about Tech McMillan, winning Offensive Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year. I was really hoping JPJ would win that. Because, I mean, he had the most sacks, but it doesn't always go to that. Schlesinger, though, again, Browns had a really good defense. You know, it all started up front with Garrett. But Schlesinger he had a really good season. I really like him.
Rookie,
yeah, he won Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, my bad. I'm tripping.
I got you. But
he played like a fucking 8-year vet all year.
Yeah,
bro.
no, he was awesome.
He fit like a glove right in that defense.
I was just glad to see Abdul Carter not win it after him tweeting that he had it locked up.
Yeah.
So I was glad to see that.
Always good. Always good to see those guys have to eat their words a little bit. But no, yeah, I mean, to your point, I think if it weren't for the PR incident, the legitimate incident as it appears, but for sure right now, because nothing's been set in stone, I don't think that incident that took place this weekend boded well at all. I don't know if that happened after voting, but man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, it definitely happened because it happened after like the Saturday before the Super Bowl. And it's funny because you saw his mom talking about his character, Heart of Gold, at the show. But I mean, I think we both stand on this, man. I mean, especially when you go to that degree, man, you putting your hands on women like that. What has to happen to you has to happen to you. It's
way beyond football.
Not to mention throwing in the wrench of him allegedly hitting a cop with his car. So I mean, there's so much madness with that just for the sake of there not being a lot of details, I'm not going to dive into. But it looks ugly.
Yeah, no, it looks like the worst. So
I guess we'll close with how about did you enjoy the halftime show with Bad Bunny? Me personally, you know I'm not a Spanish speaker. I thought he put on a good show. Just me personally, whether it's Spanish, German,
please
Dutch,
don't tell me you're about to say subtitles.
No.
Okay, all right.
I just personally don't connect with music. I just don't understand the language for, but that's a me thing. That's not, I respect the NFL doing that. I think that was a really good choice, especially with the way that Goodell's trying to kind of globalize the sport. I really thought that was cool. I thought the props were good. My king Ronald Acuna was out in the performance, so that was good to see.
Yeah, that was really
but somebody told me you were. I heard you were tapped into the Turning Point halftime show.
Nah, yeah, actually, I was out there. I had to leave early.
you were playing in Kid Rock's band. Let me tell you something. This show. I'm not going to use this as a platform to get political on anything, but let me just say, Kid Rock could be in my front yard with a bag of money saying, "Hey, dude, I got $1 million for you right here. You come and get it." I'm not going out there. There's nothing Kid Rock can convince me to do.
Man. Hey, that's a pretty strong statement, bro. Because it's a lot of things in this world people passionate about. It ain't a lot of things they more passionate about than money. So
I've
it
had
gotta mean something.
sprained ankles hurt less than listening to Kid Rock.
Yeah, man. He wasn't feeling himself for sure. I don't know. Maybe he was a little bit under the weather, but no. As far as the Bad Bunny halftime show, the real halftime show, um, I guess from a personal standpoint, I'll start there before I just get objective as far as like how I viewed it in comparison to the other Super Bowls, because that's obviously what we're always doing when we finally get done watching one performance, we're gauging it against all the other ones that we watched recently and not so recently.
Right.
So, from a personal standpoint, I appreciate the fact that, like, out of all the Spanish speaking countries in the world, we chose somebody who represents a U.S. territory. Like, if we're gonna sit here and talk about it's an American sport and blah blah blah, like Puerto Rico's a part of America, bro. Not to
Right.
mention, Puerto Ricans are literally a part of Americans' DNA, just like all of the cultures here are a part of our DNA. Like, that's what makes America special. I'm not teaching anybody anything new with that. We all know
Yeah.
that's the reason why
I
we
thought it was
live.
ill. For that. Yeah, I agree with that same reason.
Yeah, like like that's why we the wavest country in the world, because we have this huge melting pot of everybody here, with all these different sounds and styles that they bring. But as far as the visuals and everything else that we use kind of as metrics in comparison to the other performances, I don't know if you saw, it's in like, based on what outlet you read, it's either in like second or fourth place all time in like most viewed Super Bowls. Um, and I will say, just from an aesthetic standpoint, I think they killed it. Like, I think that was one
I
of the most
agree.
visually, aesthetically pleasing. Like, the Weekend show, while I enjoyed a lot of the songs that he performed, it was a mess. That shit gave me a headache. You know what I'm saying? He was sprinting everywhere,
Yeah, that
running
was.
behind mirrors and shit. Like, yeah.
Yeah, that was.
This was kind of the anti of that. Like, this felt really enjoyable to watch and to look at, and
Mhm.
a detail that my girlfriend or my fiance, shit, why
That's
you
right. That's
playing,
right.
man? But nah, man,
New lingo.
my girl had pointed out to me, she was like, man, they ain't put no subtitles. And I was like, I kind of am glad that they didn't, because if we would have been looking at the words, we wouldn't have noticed all of the other little details. Because something
Yeah.
that Bad Bunny did, through incorporating people like Ronald Acuna, that was his way of shouting out Venezuela. He had people from Haiti, he had people from Cuba, he had people from DR, all I'm gonna say all. I don't know if any of the Latin countries was missed out. I'm sure he had to unfortunately miss somebody, but I know that he shouted out all of the countries as well. And
Yeah.
ultimately, bro, I'm not gonna be able to sit here and convince anybody who didn't enjoy the music like why they should or shouldn't have enjoyed it.
Agreed.
But I will say this, that the halftime show is supposed to be a moment just as much as it's supposed to be a performance. And when we look back on this, I do think that this is what's kind of propelling football back into that golden spot. Like, basketball is kind of on the decline, and
We
this within
we
itself,
talked about this morning.
it's gonna have people up in arms and shit like that. But that's the essence of being polarizing. Whether people are watching because they like it, or whether people are liking because they or watching because they don't.
Yeah.
Watching. You see what I'm saying? And that whole performance was captivating. He killed it from start to finish. Lady Gaga was out there, doing her thing. Whether you was a fan of her coming out or
I think,
not,
I think
it
Ricky
don't change
Martin
the
was
fact
out
it
there
was a
too.
spectacle.
Ricky
Exactly. Ricky Martin
Martin
popped
was too.
out. So yeah, man, I think for the brand of football, for the country itself, the fact that we all supposed to celebrate each other, because we all live here with each other.
Right.
We all got our own heads up each other, up our own asses most of the time. But the truth is, we all live with each other. We all share this shit. So
And
why
think of
not?
how many people who are from Puerto Rico or from
100%.
any foreign but specifically Spanish speaking area that he is like the Michael Jackson of Spanish music. You know what I mean?
No,
Like
100%.
he's as big as it
100%.
gets, and those people who may not watch football put on the game to see him. They could have watched before. People probably turn it off after and before, whatever the case may be. But the NFL put themselves in a chance to be be seen by eyes that they
Yep.
may have never watched this game, but
Exactly.
if Bad Bunny's endorsing it, then it's cool. And the NFL, we've talked about this on our college episodes, how the NFL is such a well-oiled machine right now. The problems are so minute in the
Mm,
NFL. Like, I know we can talk about the officiating sometimes is
Officiating.
crummy.
Yeah.
It is in every sport.
Mhm.
It just is what it is. There are some, a lot of I think the biggest problem with the NFL is people adjusting to the lack of violence that isn't there anymore. I think is one thing, but you can't say the NFL is not well run.
Yeah.
The draft gets as many views as an NBA finals game.
Right. Yeah.
People watch the combine. People are lose their mind over schedule
I
releases.
mean, Joe, think of how Green Bay looked last, April when they had that draft out there. Yeah.
When they drafted Matthew Golden, it sounded like it was like somebody scored a touchdown.
Joe, day 3, I think they still had 85% capacity like out there on day 3, of the draft. So yeah. And it ain't necessarily 80 degrees in Green Bay, Wisconsin in April.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but no, shouts out to the NFL. I know Jay-Z's got a hand in that, but it's not like Jay-Z just picks people and says, "Hey, Jay-Z picked Bad Bunny to be in the Super Bowl." But really cool. And honestly, I mean, let's just be real. The NFL had a really big question, and I'm reading a book about this right now, kind of talking about it too. The NFL had a really big question mark, maybe black mark, from how they handled the Kaepernick situation, which is different situation, but kind of had made the NFL had to look and say, hey, minorities dominate our sport in terms of participation. We can't act like these guys are, just pawns to be a part of the game.
You hitting right on it, Joey.
They've really been embracing that, this, I feel like maybe ever since then. So it's accountability is a big thing to me. I don't really care about people doing stuff wrong to an extent because it's just life. That's how it goes. But when you can say, hey, we may have not handled this right, let's go a different way about it. I think that speaks more to who somebody is and how the leagues ran. So that's been really enlightening for me personally because I'd struggle with that. I mean, that was a tough time for me to be an NFL fan.
Hey, I commend you for speaking up on that, Joey, because a lot of people wouldn't have even geared any conversations about this halftime to that exact topic. And while you did your due diligence in saying that they are two completely different topics that can segue into completely different directions, it is that was a company cultural move. This Super Bowl, I'm telling you right now, 10, 15, 20 years from now, that halftime performance is going to be a reference point to so many more things than people will probably acknowledge right now. And I do also want to tip my hat to you for using an exact kind of term, and that was like, minorities are the number one in participation in this league, but we're kind of seen last in representation when it came to other ends of the product. So it was about time that the NFL kind of, started making some moves. In
the league's been 60% minority, and we've got Maroon 5 doing halftime shows. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So man. Shouts to Joe for pointing that out. Shouts to Bad Bunny for killing it. Shouts to the fans for rocking out with us all year. Y'all know we're gonna keep pushing out some off-season content for y'all. We're gonna do some team grades for you guys next week, hopefully with some more of the fellas. But it was always a pleasure, rocking out with my brothers this year on the college and the NFL episodes, and I look forward to, tapping in with y'all next year.
That's right, Graham. Way to close us out. I appreciate it.
Hey man, I had to handle some things for the boss, man. He's been a little tired. He's been putting up these MVP performances all year, bro.
No, that's you, play, not me. But yeah, as Graham said, guys, really appreciate you. We're not going anywhere. I got another really good idea too that I talked to the guys about today, with it being 10-year anniversary of the incredible sports year we had in 2016. So lots of stuff we're going to be doing in the off season, guys. But we're going to be here. We're not going anywhere. And next football season, the beast is still going to be rolling. So appreciate it, everybody. We'll see y'all next week. Peace.